Hey everybody, it's me Alyssa, and for today I'm going to be doing a voiceover for this makeup look. As you can tell, I have no makeup on, but I did put moisturizer on before filming this. I'm going to go ahead and put my hair back with some clips. I usually use either clips or headbands to make sure that there's no hair in my way when I'm doing my makeup. For primer, I'm using the e.l.f. Poreless Face Primer in the bottle version. I typically only do about 1 to 2 pumps, and once it's actually on my face, I really try and rub it in good and cover every single spot on my face. Also, side note, I was listening to music while I was filming this, so you'll probably see me bouncing and dancing and singing quite a lot throughout this video. For foundation, I'm using the Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Foundation in the shade F5, and I really like this one because it has a stick applicator, and especially with the way that I like to put my foundation on, which as you can tell is through little streaks all around my face. This type of applicator just makes it so much easier. To blend it all in, I'm just going to be using a damp beauty blender. I personally like to use beauty blenders as opposed to foundation brushes when it comes to blending in foundation. It just makes it look more smooth when you use a beauty blender, and there's less streakiness. Just a little tip for everybody, whether you're new to makeup or you've been doing it for a while. When you're blending your foundation, make sure that you also try and blend into your hairline, a little bit into your ear, and then especially down towards your neck. That way you can try and avoid those harsh foundation lines. For concealer, I'm using the Revolution Conceal and Define Full Coverage Conceal and Contour in the shade C2.5. And as opposed to the foundation where it was more shorter strokes and all around, for concealer I just do a little bit longer strokes under my eyes, 1 on my chin, 2 on the sides of my mouth, 3 on my forehead, and then a light one down my nose. Similar to the foundation, I'm going to be blending in the concealer with the damp beauty blender. Another tip that I have for you guys is to add a fan into your makeup routine, especially after foundation and concealer. That way you can kind of let it all set in a little bit longer before you add the powder. And speaking of powder, I use the Jeffree Star Cosmetics loose powder in the shade Rose, and I couple it with a basic little white powder puff. What I really love about this powder, I'm not sure if it's all of Jeffree's powders, but it smells exactly like cotton candy. So while I'm baking in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the shade Chocolate. And I'm going to use the spoolie side first to brush out my brows. And then I'm going to use the pencil side to draw out where I want my eyebrows, how long I want them, how thick I want them, and all that kind of fun stuff. To fill in my brows, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Taupe, which is a little bit lighter than the chocolate shade I used for the outline. And I'm actually going to be using Kylie's version of the double-sided eyebrow brush. I like to do my eyebrows starting at the end, making sure that the strokes are darker and longer, and then as I get towards the middle, the strokes become shorter and lighter to kind of get that light to dark effect. Now that my eyebrows are complete, I'm going in with the Morphe X Jeffree Star JS2 brush to kind of get rid of all that powder that's on my face. And what I actually like to do during this step is to use that powder and the brush to go over my eyebrows to blend them in better and to create even more of that light to dark gradient. Next, I'm using a concealer that's about a shade lighter than the concealer I used under my eyes, as well as a flat rounded brush to cut my brows. And for those of you that don't know what that means, basically, quote unquote, cutting your brows is perfecting the lines, making sure that it's nice and straight, and getting rid of any imperfections you may have made, as well as giving your brow a little lift and a little bit of a slight highlight. Once that's all set, I just go in with my ring finger and blend everything in. After everything's blended, that's when I go in with any last minute touches or last minute detailing. In addition to using Jeffree's powder, I'm also going to use the Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder in the shade Buff Beige. And this step is more to set my under eyes and my eyelids so that I can prevent any creasing and get rid of any buildup from the foundation and concealer. And of course, as you can see, for eyeshadow, I'm going to be using Jeffree's Blue Blood palette. So to start off this look, I'm going to be using a Morphe M451 brush and dipping into the shade Wealthy, which is a nice light nude, and I'm going to be applying that all over my eyelid for the base color. Next, I'm going to be using the shade I'm Cold, which is more of a neutral toned down blue, and I'm going to be applying that into my creases. So I quickly realized while I was filming that I forgot to show you guys what brush I was using, but it is the Morphe X Jeffree Star JS5 brush. Next I'm going in with a JS6 brush, and I'm going to be dipping into the shade Blue Blood in the palette. And just like the last shade, this one's going to go on my crease as well, but it's going to be more concentrated. Now I'm taking that last brush that I used to blend both of these colors together. With the JS11 brush, which is a flat brush that has a little bit of a slant, I'm going to be going in with the color Blue Monday, and this color is going to be going on the outer corners of my eyes. With the shade Cullinan, I'm just going to use my ring finger and place it all over my eyelids, except for that last outer portion where the dark blue color is at. And then I'm going to use that same big fluffy brush that I used at the beginning of this look to blend all of the colors together. This next brush doesn't have a number, but it's basically a medium-sized pencil brush by Morphe, and I'm going to be lining my lower lash lines with the shade Ice Tray. Moving on to eyelashes, I'm going to be using the spoolie side of the JS7 brush, and I'm just going to be brushing out my eyelashes to evenly separate them and prepare them for mascara. And of course, my all-time favorite mascara, Scandal Eyes by Rimmel London. These days I don't know how to talk to you. I don't know how to be who you need me. And then taking a spoolie brush, I just kind of rub off the mascara that made its way onto my eyelid. And of course, I'm going to be using Jeffree's Liquid Frost highlighter in the shade Frostitute. And to do this, I'm going to be using a small, dense, round brush, and this one's by the brand Eben, I think it's pronounced. And I'm just going to apply this highlighter under both of my eyebrows. What's your name? And now we're here at the final step of every single makeup routine that I do, which is lips. And specifically for this look, I'm going to be using Kylie's Liquid Lip in the shade Posy K. Alright you guys, here is my completed Blue Blood look. I really enjoyed making this video because I was just able to sit down and play with makeup, which is definitely one of my favorite things to do when I have free time. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!